Two teams, one goal. After months of matches and equations, it all comes down to this, a straight shootout where the permutation is clear and concise. Anything less than a Canberra Olympic victory will see Canberra FC claim their 23rd Capital Football NPL League title and a place in the NPL Final Series. Campbelltown City from South Australia await the winners. To the victor go the spoils in more senses than one. Welcome to O'Connor Enclosed and the league title decider. Blue versus red, champions versus challengers, Canberra Olympic versus Canberra FC. Bring it on. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me in the commentary gantry is Steve Forshaw. Steve, we've waited all season for this. This was a round one fixture, but thanks to Jelena Rozga, Croatian singer, the match was postponed, and here we are, final game of the season. Winner takes all.
Yeah, it's the culmination of what's been a really interesting season. Ever since round one, we've seen shocks and surprises. We've been left on tenterhooks thinking what would be the final makeup of the top four. And now we get to the last game of the season, and this will decide the minor premiership.
Two of the best teams in Canberra, the two most successful teams in Canberra as well. Canberra FC, 22 times league champions. The last time they won it was in 2015. The last time they were in the grand final was in 2015. They were beaten by Canberra Olympic. Canberra Olympic themselves, 7 times league champions, and they've won the last 2 as well. So these teams know all about winning.
Yeah, they're the most successful outfits in the local competition, and they've been, over the last probably 10 to 15 years, the two teams that everybody else has tried to emulate. Last season was a little disappointing from an FC point of view, but the void left by their demise in that season was filled admirably by Canberra Olympic and has been done for the last few years. And who can forget the memorable run they had in the FFA Cup when they went all the way to the semi-final. So two sides heavily laden with talent, have the credentials to go on and represent the ACT, but today has got to be done with first.
Paul Maycock, the Canberra FC coach, and Frank Keisha, the Canberra Olympic coach. Steve, Canberra Olympic need to win. We mentioned that just a moment ago. Canberra FC, a draw is okay for them. Does that play any part in the thinking behind the selection of the teams today? The big news, of course, being that Thomas James, their leading goal scorer for Canberra FC, is suspended and will miss this match.
Yeah, I think that and with the fact that it's only need a point, sorry, just stumbled over the words there. The fact that they only need a point, I think we'll see them come out a little bit reserved, a little bit cautious. I expect Olympic to make the running in this. It's their home game and they've got to win. They've got to go for the 3 points. I think we're likely to see an FC team that sets up to defend well and look to counter, whereas Olympic will be far more proactive and be looking to take the game to Canberra FC.
The changes, and we will go through the teams very shortly. Marko Verkic comes into midfield for Canberra FC from the last time we saw them, and Jordan Lamb is selected as well in the absence of Ryan Keir and Thomas James. Keir, I understand, is going to be on the bench this afternoon, and James, obviously, as we said, suspended. So that's two more defence-minded players, although Lamb doesn't mind getting forward. Yeah,
they're not going to just park the bus. They won't do that, but I think their priority will be ensure that Olympic can't score, and they would take a 0-0 draw. If you offered a 2-0, they would certainly take it. But I expect that their priority will be defend well. Ryan Keir and Thomas James are big misses for FC. Olympic, of course, played in midweek and had a very comfortable win against Tigers, and that's probably better than a training session. It can go into this full of confidence. But like we've been saying for the last couple of minutes, it's win or bust for Olympic.
Fair to say that game in midweek was a bit of a turnaround from the one that was abandoned. Tigers led that one 2-0 at half-time. And then, of course, Gabby Will played a much weakened side in midweek. A few players have gone back to America. A couple of his star players have gone back to America. Vijay Fanier was rested. So was Robbie Dealey, because they were close to being on suspensions if they picked up another yellow. And they were beaten 7-0. Probably not the result that Frank Keisha and Canberra Olympic would have expected when they got the second chance, but one that they've taken with aplomb.
Absolutely, and like I was saying, it turned out to be little more than a practice session for Olympic, given that Gabby did pick a much weakened side, and they'll certainly come up against a different opposition today. But that sort of result can give you a lot of confidence going into the last game of the season. FC had a comfortable victory over Tuggeranong in the last round of the official season, so they'll be confident as well. But like we were saying before, Keir and James, two vital cogs in their midfield, are replaced by two young and up-and-coming players, and although they may have a defensive bent, I look to them to sort of step up today and try and get them over the line.
In the absence of James's 22 goals in all competitions, the onus will be on Michael Mensah and Kofi Danning to score the goals today. Kofi Danning with half a dozen this season, Michael Mensah with 4 in his last 4. So he's come in and done really well up front, in the absence of Michael Tarazi as well, who's another on the injury list.
Yeah, look, Mensah has stepped into the breach admirably. He scored important goals. He's just not got himself on the score sheet. They've been goals that have won them points. He got the second goal in the game against Belconnen in a 2-2 draw. He scored against Tuggeranong with a great header, and in fact, during that game, was extremely dominant in the air, and it wouldn't surprise me if FC looked to set pieces and finding him in the box to try and break down the Olympic defence. Danning leads the line well. He's not a prolific goal scorer, but he's mobile, he's quick and he's strong. And if they can give him the right sort of service running off people like Michael Mensah, then you can expect him to cause the Olympic defence some trouble too.
Looking at Canberra Olympic, the home team here at O'Connor, they're missing Robbie Catanach, of course. He's been injured earlier in the season. Big miss for them, but they've got Rocco Stricker back. And they've got 2 strikers up front that are in form at the moment. Nick Popovich has 3 goals in his last 4 games. Stephen Dominici 6 in his last 8. Their leading goal scorer, though, Michael John, on the bench today.
Well, it just shows the sort of depth that Olympic can call on. Michael John's had a really good year and he's scored plenty of goals for him, and certainly earlier in the season he looked like the boy that was going to take them to success. Dominici's return from Wollongong has come at just the right time for them, and you know, they're scoring goals from midfield, they're scoring goals from the nominated strikers. They're a very powerful and potent attacking force, and that won't change today. But like I said, I think FC with a very strong defensive record to protect, and you know, with a philosophy that might just say a point will do, then it'll be difficult for Olympic to break them down.
Well, let's have a look at the 2 teams in further detail. Canberra Olympic playing a 4-2-3-1 today. Mason Interlandi keeps his place in goal despite the return of Angelo Constantinou from overseas. He's been on a European break. He's on the bench today. They're back 4. Tim Bobolas at right back, Josh Calabria at left back, Nathan Mejic and Nick Bobolas in central defence. 2 holding midfielders in Daniel Colbertado and Tom McLaughlin, or we'll expect McLaughlin to maybe push further forward. And then 4 players in front of them who can come up with goals. Rocco Stricker, Nick Popovich and Dom Champaulo, and Stephen Dominici up front.
Strong lineup, very strong lineup in both them going forward and at the back. On Wednesday night in the game against Tigers, they looked vulnerable at the back, but Megic didn't play in that game, and he makes a big difference to the way they organise. But they've certainly got goals in them going forward. Like you say, I think McLaughlin will play more of an 8 than a 6. Daniel Colbertaldo, very important to the things that Olympic do. He'll sit in the 6th position and work his magic from there, from deeper. But Gianpaolo, Stricker, both capable of getting goals and both capable of creating chances. Good lineup.
Canberra FC, they're out there in the red shirts, white shorts and blue socks. In goal, Jordan Thurtell gets the nod over Sam Brown. The back 4, Aidan Brunskill at right back, Ivan Pavlak at left back, Daniel Subasic and Matt Gerbischer, the central defensive partnership. 4 across the midfield, Jordan Lamb and Matthew Waters providing the width. Marco Verkic and Ian Graham, the central midfield cogs up front, Michael Mensah and Kofi Danning.
Yeah, it's a good sign. I mean, the back 4 is very settled. They've done really well. Thurtell is a high-quality goalkeeper, and he's been rotating with Brown in goals this year, and both have done extremely well. It's in midfield where they've lacked a little bit of consistency and come into this game with a couple of changes that may well have an impact on the result. And up front, we've already talked about Mensah and Danning. So this is 2 teams very, very close to each other, both capable of winning the game, and both looking forward to finish on top of the table if they can.
The benches might play a big part in this one as well, Steve. On the bench for Canberra Olympic, as we mentioned, Michael John, their leading goal scorer, Oliver Wiedeker, Michael Reeve, Ali Sarwan and Angelo Constantinou. For Canberra FC, Sam Brown, the goalkeeper, Christian Pradatina, Ross Costanzo, Christian Kreskas and Ryan Keir.
On face value, you would say that the Olympic bench looks a little bit stronger. If it does come down to the substitutes and when they're made and how they're deployed, you might expect Olympic to have the edge. But Predazina in particular has come on and done well for FC in the past. But there's pace aplenty on the Olympic bench, and then in the last 20 minutes that might be telling.
3 very experienced match officials in the middle. Gary Vanderbird refereeing on the line, Adam Powers and Owen Goldrick. Fresh officials, experienced officials as well. Let's hope we're not talking about them too much today, Steve, but we're confident that we've got some good men in the middle.
Absolutely. I think the 3 most senior officials in Canberra are available for this game today. And with all due respect, I hope we don't see them at all. I mean, if they're quiet and in the background, then we'll have had a decent game.
they'll be hoping exactly the same as well. It's a decent crowd. You can't see it on the camera side because they're all on this side where we are in the commentary gantry, close to halfway. It's a decent view from up here, isn't it? And the weather today, it's threatening to rain, Steve.
It's cold. Rain's holding off at the moment. The wind not too bad. The pitch, it's a little bit bumpy and dry, but I can't imagine that it's going to have too much of an impact on the result. Both teams will play on it. Both teams are capable of playing on any sort of surface, so it shouldn't make that much difference. But it's perfect conditions, really, for a game of football in winter in Canberra.
Who would have thought that when we were sat there at Belconnen versus Gungahlin United, round 1 of the season, way back when, that this fixture, which was originally scheduled for that round, would be rearranged to this time of the year and would come down to this, winner takes all. Nobody
could have anticipated it, Russ, but thankfully the season's worked out the way it has, and we go into the last game of the season as the decider. Fantastic excitement, and really it's maintained a level of interest that we probably haven't seen in the NPL in Canberra for many years.
Well, we've been building up in anticipation all week. It's Canberra FC, as I said, in the red shirts, about to get us underway. Gary Vanderbilt blows the whistle, and the league title decider is up and running. FC attacking the goal to our right in the first half. That early ball for Mensah. This challenge between Mensah and Bobolas is likely to be very, very telling, with him and Magic as well. The strength that he had over the Tuggeranong players last week, maybe not quite so evident against the twin centre-backs of Canberra Olympic.
No, it's an interesting matchup, though, isn't it? Bobolas very strong in the air, good tackler. Mensah very, very similar, will lead the line, will play furthest forward for FC.
Corner early on for Canberra FC. Mensah using his strength to win that. Kofi Danning will go across to take it. Matt Gerbish has come up from the back, as you'd expect. Danning looks to swing this one in. Good looking ball too. It might come for Gerbisher on the far post. Might come for him again, the big centre-back. Olympic struggling to clear their lines. They do eventually. And it's picked up on halfway by Dominici. A little early warning sign there from the corner that FC mean business.
Yeah, we talked earlier on about their ability from set pieces, and we saw a good example of it then. It certainly looks a way forward for FC.
Flat kick by Thurtell, not his best. And Gianpaolo was in there. Sent forward by Gerbisher. Early stages of these games might be a little bit frantic. Nice turn from Danning. A little bit of space to work in. He's only got Mensah in the middle. He finds Mensah, and Interlandi was rooted to the spot. And the header flashes just wide. First chance goes FC's way.
And it's a good chance too. Great header, just wide of the target. Danning's done Bobolas very, very well on the far left. Got the cross in, and Mensah, unmarked, just failed to hit the target. But what a great move.
Bright first 2 minutes for Paul Makor and his Canberra FC team. Interlandi sends it forwards. Calabria will challenge. Battling in there with Subasic, who scored that wonderful goal last week. It breaks for Popovic. Gerbish is across. Popovic riding the challenges. This is Olympics' first break. Stricker with the efforts. Might come out for Gianpaolo. Stricker again. Now Colbertaldo. It's picked off by Lamb, and he can bring it forwards. Looks for Mensah. Good win by Magic. Fast and frantic as we expected, Steve, in the opening stages.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those games where whoever settles best might come out on top.
Confident goalkeeping from Thurtell. Slips again when he kicks. Seems maybe that little smattering of rain that came down slightly just before kickoff, Steve, may have made the pitch a bit dewy.
Well, I was watching him in the warm-up, and he was knocking some balls, as was Mason, and they were both struggling with their footing.
Free kick on halfway. Easy decision for Gary Vanderbilt. First time we've done a game with Gary in the middle on Bar TV this season. McLaughlin goes to Magic. Looked for Popovic, but didn't get enough elevation on that one. Lamb.
Certainly early days FC to appear to have settled better, but Olympic will work their way into it.
McLaughlin. Ball wide to Tim Bobolas. Stricker. McLaughlin once more. Popovic. Peeled off a couple of times now, Nick Popovic early on. Here's Dominici playing at the pointy end. We might expect him to drop a bit deeper again. This is a good move. Looking for Dominici again, and he wrestles Dannings to the floor, concedes a free kick, but Popovic-Dominici combination looks quite lively as well.
Yeah, and we had a look at the way the lineups were actually penciled in, and we thought Dominici might play that little bit deeper, but certainly Popovic has started playing in behind Dominici. Whether that changes, we'll have to wait and see. But interesting that during that defensive period, Danning was in his own penalty area.
Former A-League player showing his qualities in a defensive sense. Early stages here live on Bar TV Sports. Canberra FC in the red, Canberra Olympic in the blue, no goals. As we said, if FC avoid defeat, they will win the league championship. Olympic need a win, so their need for a goal will be more pressing. Magic looks for Popovic. Brings it down and creates himself a bit of space. Looks for Dominici on the run. It's a good ball too, and Dominici just ran away from him there, didn't it?
It did. It was a good ball. I thought Dominici might have brought that under control. Stricker was also making an excellent run from the outside right position to a more central position. So Olympics' movement is very, very intelligent, very good. Just need that final pass to stick.
Whatever happens, these two will meet again next week in the qualification final. Canberra FC v Canberra Olympic, the 1v2. And on Sunday, 3v4, Tigers FC versus Tuggeranong United in the elimination final as well. So finals football underway. This, of course, the winners of the league championship goes to the NPL final series. Maybe some interested viewers from Adelaide tuning in to see who they might be playing. Long ball forwards looking for Popovic. Subasic is there. Had to get a good touch on it.
Both of these teams have experience in that end-of-season competition as well.
Neither one of them would be a very fitting entrant for Canberra. FC been on the national stage this year, of course, already. Lost to Broadmeadow Magic in the FFA Cup. Didn't acquit themselves particularly well, did they, on that occasion, Steve? They would have hoped to have done a bit better.
Yeah, the scoreline blew out. They actually started the game really well. We were 1-0 up, if I remember correctly. But Broadmeadow proved just to be too strong in the end.
Very strong side, Broadmeadow Magic, weren't they? A couple of ex-A-League boys in there as well.
And, you know, both these teams can look forward to that sort of challenge if they go on to play Campbelltown.
It's Colbertaldo. Graham snapping at his heels. Now Popovic has got some space. He's peeled away from Brunskill. Opportunity for Olympic. Here's Popovic. Swings it in towards Dominici. Tried to nod it into the path of Gianpaolo, and that was an important foot in by Gerbischer back there as Gianpaolo was lurking inside the 6-yard box.
In these early stages, it is really obvious that Olympic in transition are really quick to get numbers forward, and you saw then that the quick ball out from Colbertaldo got Popovic away, and then a good ball into Dominici, and they had numbers in the box to take advantage of it. Gerbischer did some really good defending.
Strucker finds Gianpaolo, looks to fashion a shooting opportunity, got it away but it was blocked. Colbertaldo, always a source of quality in midfield. Popovic, two red shirts converging, slides it across, and a little bit of panic stations. Hooked over his own crossbar by Gerbischer at the back.
Yeah, it wasn't the most telling of service to the box by Popovic, but a little bobble in front of Gerbischer caused a little bit of panic, and we end up with an Olympic corner.
First set piece for those in blue. Tom McLaughlin to take. We saw FC cause a bit of panic with their first corner. Waiting for a football. Always useful to have one, isn't it? Helps the flow of the game.
Yeah, never mind the ball, get on with the game.
So McLaughlin will take. Magic, Calabria and Nick Boblis, the obvious targets. Swung in towards the far post. Mensah back there defending. Strucker's touch was a little bit short, and here comes Mensah. Strucker tries to win it back. Nick Boblis, that is, sending it forward. Verkic, a little bit loose from the midfielder. Some nervy touches early on. Here's Strucker. Picking it up for Olympic. Dominici. Magic, who stayed forward. Strucker on the edge of the box. Nicely done. Dominici shot and lacking the power to trouble Thurtell, but nicely done.
Yeah, good combination. Finding Dominici ultimately on the edge of the box, but his little side foot effort wasn't enough to trouble Thurtell.
Good challenge up by Verkic. Graham picks up the pieces. Now Pavlak. 9 minutes gone. No real chances of note so far. It's a good ball forward towards Mensah. Flag stays down here. Beaten to it, though. McLaughlin. Popovic to Colbertaldo. Looks for the ball through, and it almost found Gianpaolo. Subasic needed to be alert. Dominici, Olympic growing into this.
Yeah, they really worked their way into the game well, and it's all Olympic at the moment.
Popovic.
We anticipated that FC might just sit off a little bit anyway, so maybe that's just coming into play now.
McLaughlin's ball forward. Subasic sends it straight back from where it came from. And Mason Interlandi, who's been virtual spectator in this first 10 minutes. Magic.
They're certainly getting 10 players behind the ball.
So they only need a draw. Popovic finds Gianpaolo. Almost slid Dominici through. Good defending again by Gerbischer. Now here's Lamb. Looking to take on McLaughlin. Calabria's there with a foot in, and blue shirts converging. It's a sharpness about both sides as well, Steve. That's a good ball through. Now Mensah, the flag does go up. Very close.
Yeah, I think he was offside, but even if he wasn't, the pace of the ball was getting away from him. So no real dramas there from an Olympic defensive point of view.
So pitch is a little bit bobbly as well. So if you saw when Lamb tried to take one there, it bounced away from him. It's not going to help either team who like to play football.
I think you'll see more of that sort of play because of the pitch. You might see it being a little bit more direct. They won't be taking too many chances trying to play out.
I've often thought this isn't the longest pitch in the world either, is it? O'Connor enclosed.
No, and I think that probably suits Olympic because they could find combinations. They do have players that are technically superior, and of course they're also used to playing here. It's their home ground.
What they have got this week that we don't normally get, you can see, but if you get the shot over on the far side, it's the multiple goalposts. Not on this field today, Steve.
No, thank goodness.
Yeah, taking them down.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. It's not one of the best venues in Canberra for football, is it? Unfortunately for Canberra Olympic, it's a homely venue, and they do a good job in the canteen here for sure. You had a bit of a Kransky roll before kickoff, I saw.
A bit of one.
Half a pig in there, wasn't it? Gerbischer. I went for the more Greek effort for the gyros for myself, mate.
The healthier alternative, was it?
Had some salad in it, I'm sure it was. McLaughlin wide to Popovic. Looks to take on Brunskill. Does well. Gianpaolo. Waters was back there quickly to deny him a shooting opportunity. And it's noticeable, isn't it, Steve, that every time someone gets close to a goal, the players snapping in on their heels. It means a lot to them.
Yeah, I think certainly from an FC point of view, everybody's working really hard to make sure that Olympic don't get the sort of space that they need. And you see Matt Waters, of course, a lot of his work goes unnoticed, but he's always reliable.
McLaughlin into Dominici, rolls away from him again. First touch was good, second one just kind of spun away from him for a moment. Thought about the spin and the shot.
He did.
Didn't quite work out for him.
But a good ball in, good penetrating pass and creating havoc in the back four for FC.
Noticeable in the first 10 minutes, Steve, that Daniel Colbertaldo, as soon as he gets possession, there's players in on him very quickly. He's the one that usually dictates the tempo for Olympic.
Absolutely. It would be remiss of Paul and Danny McCaw not to have pointed out the fact that D makes Olympic tick, and they will be doing everything they can to restrict the amount of time he has on the ball.
I mean, these sides know each other very, very well. They've met twice already this season. Canberra FC won the FFA Cup quarter-final qualifier. A couple of goals from Thomas James won that for them. Michael John Goal won the game at Deakin in the league. Here's Danning. Stands up, does well, past Colbertaldo, looks to pull it back for Ian Graham. Didn't catch hold of it at all. Mensah looks to spin. It's Waters on the edge of the box with a curler, but it's too high. That was a chance for Ian Graham. It got a deflection. Going to have a corner.
Yeah, it took a little nick off the shot from Waters. But good play from FC. When they got into that final third, their combinations were very good. They'll be encouraged by that.
Cutback fell to one of the less prolific finishers they have, Ian Graham.
Yeah, I mean, Ian Graham doesn't usually find himself in those sorts of positions unless it's a set piece, and it showed.
Only a couple of goals for him this season. Important ones, though. One against Tuggeranong United, got him a draw. Here they are with another corner. Waters to take. Left-footed, swings in, good one towards the far post. Mensah was challenging. It's going to be a corner on the other side. Fair to say that Bobolas doesn't agree with the decision.
It looked the right decision. I thought Boblis got the last touch on it, but interestingly, FC are trying to move the defenders around by making runs towards for a short corner and then hitting it deep for Mensah at the far post.
Danning swings it in towards the front post, and there is Interlandi with a confident take, and that's what you want from your keeper. It's good distribution. 0-2 up towards Dominici.
A little bit isolated and luckily to get the throw, really.
Nice take from Mason Interlandi, though.
Yeah, very, very confident keeping, and he's done well in the absence of Angelo.
Big size on him too. Here's Gianpaolo. He could be key today if he's on form. There's not many better in Canberra. Cobaltaldo up towards Dominici. Just thumped clear. Up from the back by Gerbischer.
If FC are going to catch them on the break, which is a real possibility, it'll be when Cobaltaldo pushes out of his holding role like he did then, and they can pinch it and play forward early.
Still early stages, of course. Live on Bar TV Sports, this league championship decider down here in Canberra. No goals. 15 minutes gone. Calabria to Dominici. Looked to turn away from Sibicic. Calabria wins it again. McLaughlin, that's a fairly hefty back pass. So early stages, Steve, 15 minutes in. Who do you think's a happier coach at the moment?
Well, Paulo McCaw's, as live ladder is on top, so I guess he's not going to be too disappointed. But Frank Keisha won't be disappointed with the way Olympic have worked themselves into the game. In the first 15 minutes, they've had some neat football played, although possibly FC have had the better chances.
Not been too many of note, has there? Like I said earlier in the season, it was that match we did at Deakin Stadium, finished 1-0. Michael John with the goal. Last three grand finals that Canberra FC have been in, they've actually lost. 2014 they lost on penalties to Belconnen. 2015 they went down 3-1 to Canberra Olympic, and 2016 they went down 3-0 to Canberra Olympic as well. So they're getting there, just not finding their way across the line quite at the moment.
And that's unusual for a club of their stature.
As I said at the top of the broadcast, 22 times league champions, more than anybody else in Canberra. Canberra Olympic with 7.
Nearly as many as Celtic.
Not quite, 740. McLaughlin challenges. There's a injury to Mensah. Got a knock on the head. Big unit, Michael Mensah. Taking a fair old clunk to send him down to the turf.
Yeah, I think that's just a head clash, though.
Very experienced player. 4 goals, as I said, this season, and 4 in his last 4 games.
Yeah, and he's played at a very high level overseas, so he brings a wealth of experience to this FC lineup. And like you say, he's scored some important goals in recent weeks.
He certainly has. Started with the... did score against Tigers in a game they lost, but got a goal in the draw against Belconnen, got the match winner against Woden Western, and opened the scoring last week against Tuggeranong. So, in fine form. We did see in amongst that as well, Steve, he did score a goal that was disallowed against Broadmeadow Magic in the Cup as well. That would be 5 from 5 if that had been given.
It was a hell of a finish too.
Did well, didn't he? Here's Lamb. Sends it forward. Nice touch from Waters. Tries to squeeze his way through past Calabria. Couldn't quite get there, though. Intelligent player, Matthew Waters.
Yeah, at both ends of the pitch. He works really hard for his team. And that was a great move again.
Been enjoying the match so far. Plenty of people watching from around the world, not just Australia. Gerbischer with a long throw into the penalty area. Good win by Magic. Strucker's there. Steps away from Gerbischer. There's a little bit of a grab at him. Gives away the free kick.
Stricker did extremely well there. Then something that Olympic are going to have to watch, particularly with the aerial power of Mensah. The long throw from Gerbischer is a useful weapon.
Calabria. Here's Magic. Now Nick Bobolis. Olympic won't be in any rush to get the goal they need, but I'm sure they'd like one sooner rather than later. Certainly settle the nerves if they could get one.
Well, if they can score first, it means that FC really have to come out and try and do more than just defend.
Well, it is hard, Steve, isn't it, when you set up a team to set up a team just to solely defend. Here's Dominici running at the defence, looking to slide it through. Probably went the wrong way there. Gianpaolo wanted it.
Yeah, not happy with Dominici. Gianpaolo thought he should have had the ball, and he probably was the better option.
Is there been a coach yourself as well, Steve? Would you look at a fixture like this and solely go to your team, look, we just need to defend? You can't do that really with the nature of some of the players.
No, I don't think you would. And to be honest, they haven't really just parked the bus. They've done more than that. But it's too dangerous in a local competition where teams are so close to try and defend for 90 minutes. It's just handing the initiative to the opposition. And if you want to draw, the best way to get it is to try and win it and then settle for a draw, if that's the way it turns out. And
they know each other very well, these teams, as we mentioned, played in numerous grand finals against each other before. This is match 3 of possible 5 this season. There's another one next week, as I said, 1v2 in the final series, qualification final. Then, of course, if everything goes according to plan for these two teams, they'll be meeting in the grand final in a few weeks. I'm sure Gabby Wilkes, Tigers FC, and Mitch Stevens, Tuggeranong United, will have plenty to say about that.
Yeah, but they have been the two best teams in the competition, so it would be somewhat of a surprise if they didn't make the final. But having said that, Tigers in particular have had a great second half of the season.
Notwithstanding Wednesday's result, they've been on a bit of a run, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, Wednesday's result's an aberration. It's I think they were 7 from 7 prior to going into that game, and if you're sympathetic to their cause, they might have been 8 from 8 had the game not been rained off.
And with one of the league's informed strikers in Nicholas Vigefanier with 17 goals. Joint Golden Boot winner this year, because Thomas James isn't going to add to his tally. Being absent today, he's also on 17. McLaughlin challenges. Verkic wins in midfield. No foul. There is a foul.
A little late with the whistle, but I think he's got the decision right in here. The Golden Boot's been a reflection of the season overall, hasn't it? Where we've ended up with 2 players at the top of the table with the Golden Boot, and you couldn't separate these 2 before today.
Just the nature of sport, though. One of these sides is going to go home disappointed at the end of 90 minutes today. At the moment, there's no closer to finding out who that will be. Pavlak will take this free kick. Lifted towards the far post. It was a chance for Mensah. Falls for Gerbischer. Danning's peeled away. Verkic is in there, but Colbertaldo wins it, and that's brilliant from Marco Verkic. Still going. Opportunity here for Lamb. Tries to get it onto his left foot. It's back for Verkic, and he scores! It's Marco Verkic, the player who perhaps wouldn't have been in the lineup if Thomas James had been here, and he strikes first blood. Canberra FC lead. Well, that really puts a cat among the pigeons now, because Olympic really do have to step it up if they're going to win the minor premiership. They'd be really disappointed with the way they've defended that. They've had opportunities to clear it. Again, they've left Mensah free from a free header, and that's caused havoc. The ball's bobbled around. Verkic has done extremely well and been in the right spot when Lamb's sort of mishit pass come shot has found him at his feet, and he's rolled in the bottom corner for a great finish. Marco Verkic hasn't scored a goal since round 7 when he got the 5th of 5 against Belconnen United. What a time to add to that tally. Now let's see what Frank Acia's Canberra Olympic have in response. They need 2, remember. A draw is no good to them. Too early to say Canberra FC have one hand on the trophy, but they've certainly got a couple of fingers. Oh, look, they're in the box seat now, and it's up to Olympic to take the game to them. Gianpaolo. The most unlikely goal scorer, you would say, out of everybody on the field. But it comes from a set piece, and Olympic just haven't dealt with it properly. Is that a mishit cross from Jordan Lamb, do you think? A mishit shot? Or? I think he was trying to shoot, but it's actually turned out to be a wonderful assist. Here's Danning. Well, he's done some good things in his career, Kofi Danning, and that's probably not going to make his highlights reel. No, but he does waste that extra few seconds. Well, we're halfway through. That goal came halfway through the first half. Marco Verkic's second goal of the season. It's a name synonymous with Canberra FC, Steve. The Verkic name? Yes, indeed. Writing his small chapter of Canberra FC folklore at the moment. Still a long way to go, though. Medjic. Strucker. Brunskill in with a strong challenge, much to the approval of Matt Gerbish. You may have picked that up. Cleared by Gerbish up towards Mensah. Shows his strength. Does exceptionally well. Takes 2 Canberra Olympic players to stop Michael Mensah.
Probably a little bit unlucky not to get a free kick then. It looked a little bit. How's your father?
Yeah, Nick Bobolas climbing all over the back of Mensah. Referee lets it go. Calabria's header. Probably not where he wanted it to go. That's good, better from Bobolas, and Brunskill sends it back. Dominici chasing. Subasic there and just sends that somewhere into the suburbs outside of O'Connor. Fair to say they're taking no chances when it gets close to their goal, are they?
No. I mean, they're in the box seat now. They know exactly what they're going to do. There's added incentive now to protect their own final third, their own goalkeeper, and they're not going to take any risk whatsoever.
Here's Stricker, wins a corner. Olympic will be looking for a response.
They will, but I can't see them being as effective from set pieces as FC are.
Just out of shot there. Nick Bobolas is feeling his ankle a little bit.
He's had trouble with injury all season. The last couple of seasons, Nick, he's a bit injury prone.
Keep an eye on that because he's not moving too freely. Here's the corner. Stricker to take. Swings it in there towards the far post. There's Mensah to win it.
I think they're going to come up. They have to come up with some variety from the set pieces. I mean, Gerbischer, Mensah, Subasic, they're always going to be winning things in that penalty area.
There seems to be a height advantage to Canberra FC and probably a physical advantage as well.
And I think technically they're just better in the air.
Yeah. Calabria's ball forward, looking for Stricker. Almost got him behind Gerbischer there. Rocco Stricker, he's definitely got the quality though to bring his team back into this.
Yeah, if they use him the right way. I mean, he's playing predominantly in a wider area on the right-hand side of the front 4, if you like, or the 3 in behind Dominici or Popovic, as it turns out. So they need to get him on the ball if they're going to use him effectively. And at this stage, he's been a little bit hit and miss.
When does Frank Keisha go for broke and chuck Michael John on as well and literally throw everybody at it? Last half an hour?
Last half an hour, I would have thought, yeah. Round about the hour mark of the game, I would have thought that if you're still 1-0 behind, you might as well have a go.
Between now and then, they need to stay in the match, though, and it's a free kick to Canberra FC.
Yeah, no need for him to be panicking at this stage. They're in the game, it's 1-0. If they can go into the sheds at 1-1, then he would really fancy his chances in the second half.
And they'll feel a little bit hard done by with that goal, I think, just by the luck of the bounce. Maybe it's a tidy finish, though, from Verkic.
It was. And, you know, they can complain about it a little bit. They're putting their hands up for offside, but they basically stopped and didn't mark and didn't defend properly.
Well, Pavlak's lining this one up. I'm not sure whether he's going to try his luck from this range. Clips one in towards Mensah, who almost won the header. He's causing havoc again. Verkic was in there around about once more. Surely he wouldn't have got 2 in the game. I'm assuming he predominantly wasn't picked to score the goals, Marko Verkic.
No, well, I think, like you were saying earlier on in the piece, that he was probably in for his defensive qualities as much as anything else. But he's come up with what might be the most important goal of his career.
Challenge in there from Lamb. Isn't it ironic, though, Steve, sometimes when you give out the big build-up to all the big names, you think the ones that are going to score the goals, and generally in these games it's not those players. They're very well marked.
Absolutely.
And marshalled, and it's someone else from left field that comes up with the big moments.
Yeah, I mean, you said a few minutes ago how tight they were with Cole Bataldo, and he really hasn't got into the game, and it was him that was sort of caught in the box for the goal. Instead of clearing it, he's taken an extra touch and he's found himself under pressure, and the resulting finish puts Olympic behind the 8 ball.
Well, they've got a free kick here. You're watching live NPL football from Capital Football and Bar TV Sports. Coming up to half an hour played. Canberra FC lead the title decider 1-0. A goal from Marko Verkic after 22 minutes is the difference. Gerbish is there. Loose ball is picked up by Stricker. Dominici, who's noticeably dropped a bit deeper since they've gone behind. McLaughlin sweeps it wide to Bobolas. No way forward. Has to come back. Cole Bataldo. It's another neat and tidy build-up, and nipped in the bud by Ian Graham, who sends it across the other field.
Another safety first clearance, no risks at all. In that final third, it's not going to be the most attractive thing you've ever seen, but it will be effective.
Well, we're past the purest stage, I think, isn't it, Steve, of the season right now? It's all about the results. How you get there doesn't really matter, I don't think, right about now.
It certainly won't matter to FC.
Here's McLaughlin. Magic. If any team in Canberra is capable of turning this around, though, it is this one in blue. Here's Dominici on the turn, fires it goalwards, and that's a decent save from Jordan Thurtell. Bounced in front of him. Keeper got his body behind it and held on well because Popovic was lurking for a rebound.
Yeah, really good hands from Thurtell. Good shot from Dominici as well. He's certainly capable of putting one in the back of the net from that range.
Yeah, maybe just a little warning there for FC that give him the space, might cause you problems. That's Brunskill. Mensah's after this, and he's got away from Bobulus. Michael Mensah. Intriguing battle, this one, between Mensah and Nick Bobulus.
And on point, you'd have to give it to Mensah at the moment.
At the moment. He's not won that challenge. It's a bit loose from Gianpaolo. We're going to go back for a yellow card here for Michael Mensah.
Yeah, it was a little bit naughty after the ball had gone. He's just sort of laid Bobulus out. No need for that.
Got the incredulous look about him about, what did I do, referee? Don't think he can have too many complaints.
No, not at all. But he's...
Didn't need to do it, did he? Because he's been causing enough problems with his strength and his physicality anyway.
That's right. And he has had questions asked about his temperament in the past. He's currently under a form of suspension.
From his coaching duties at
From
the
his coaching
20s?
duties with the under-20s, yeah. So he really needs to sort of keep a lid on it.
Some would say that's actually worked out quite well for Canberra FC because he's turned into a player and he's doing a good job.
Yeah, and you can't blame CFC for actually playing. I mean, there's obviously an anomaly in the rules that needs to be looked at.
Coming at the right time with Michael Tarazi's unfortunate injury. He's had a career bedeviled by injury, unfortunately, the striker for Canberra FC. They could get him fit for finals as well. Imagine the strike force they'd have then.
I understand he's overseas. He's
gone overseas? Yeah. Hopefully he's watching it. Mensah, appeal for a penalty. Lamb's come in. Big appeals, mostly from the Canberra FC bench, which was a long, long way away from the action. And from Matt Gerbisher, who's not shy to voice his opinion.
But the reaction from the players closest to it suggests that it might have been, but we're not in a position to sort of give an informed position from here.
And no replays for us in the commentary box. You might be getting them at home. Make your own minds up. Here's Bobulus. To Tim Bobulus. And Colbertaldo slips on the surface now, and Ian Graham. Not a huge amount of runners for him. So he sends it into the corner. It's not the worst ball. No,
it is if you're Michael Mensah, because he's not chasing them.
He doesn't want that, does he? No. That's a Thomas James ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
33 minutes gone. 1-0 Canberra FC. Marko Verkic's goal. It's a good ball looking for Tim Bobulus, who slid into the challenge. Free kick. Before the game, I was checking out on Sportsbet there, Steve. Not that we do any betting on the game, but they couldn't pick anything between this. $2.40 for Olympic, $2.30 for FC, I think it was, and $4 the draw. So the experts outside of this booth saying there wasn't much in it.
And probably right. The betting's probably right. I mean, $4 a draw was probably a good bet.
Gamble responsibly and all that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Don't gamble at all.
Yeah. Mugs game. Thurtell with the free kick. Made one decent save, the stopper. Magic. Touch by Colbertaldo, and Gianpaolo tried to bring it under his spell. But Subasic was there. Scored from about there last week, didn't he, Steve?
He did, yeah. I'm sure he claimed it. I'm not sure he meant it.
I spoke to him afterwards, and he definitely said he meant it.
I'd say
massive grin on his face as well.
Tongue firmly in cheek.
Absolutely. It's a week later, and he's still claiming it. Bobulus swings it in there towards Dominici, who almost got in front of his marker.
Interestingly, Gerbish is caught out of position there when they got that cross in.
He was. Was flicked on by Mensah. It was a good bit of covering defence by Subasic, wasn't it, who came in to win the header. Otherwise, Dominici might have had a chance. Olympic responded reasonably well to going a goal down. They've kept to their principles. No panic, as you suggested, Steve, that they wouldn't. Popovic. Dominici looks to return the ball. Lan. It's one for Mensah to chase. Used his body well in the first place, and now he might got away here from Nick Bobolis, Michael Mensah. He's got runners in support. Danning's made a great run to the near post, and Tim Bobolis read the intention. Otherwise, that might have been a chance. Cut back not quite hard enough.
No, I mean, he's got away one-on-one. I mean, in a battle of strength, you'd have to back him as favourite. But why Olympic are leaving Nicky Bobolis one-on-one with Michael Mensah is beyond me. And Frank Casey will need to look at that, I'd imagine, before half-time.
Well, I think that obviously they seem to have told Nick Bobolis to keep tabs on Mensah in terms of their physical battle, but yeah, Bobolis doesn't look right to me, does he? He's struggling a little bit out of your shot there at the moment in the centre circle. In the meantime, Canberra Olympic have got a free kick in a dangerous position. Rocco Stricker's there. Gianpaolo's behind it as well. It's going to be Stricker, though. And if he could get some whip on this, this could be dangerous. Stricker swings it towards the far post. Unmarked was Calabria. Just a little bit too high for the fullback.
Yeah, good delivery, though, and he's found a man in space. Probably a little too high for him to do any better than what he really did, but maybe that sort of delivery, they can expect something out of a set piece, but generally speaking, FC have had the measure in the set-piece stakes.
I would like to have seen a harder, flatter delivery there, Steve. Yeah. Whipped in real pace.
Yeah. There was actually, there were 2 against 1 on the back post, so a little bit of communication wouldn't have gone astray.
Decent knock from Thurtell up towards Mensah. Beaten by Megic. Climbed really high there. Popovic. Calabria. That's well done by Subisic. And then again, safety first.
Yeah.
It's not the prettiest to watch, is it? But at least it's getting it away from the goal as far as Canberra FC are concerned.
Yeah, it is, like you say, safety first. Safety first. But on Wednesday night against Tigers, they were playing similar sort of passes into whoever was in the 9, Popovic or Dominici, and then trying to link up from midfield. And they're trying to do it again today, but FC are all over it at the moment.
Defensively very sound, aren't they, with Gerbischer and Subisic at the back there, and both fullbacks, Brunskill and Pavlak, years of experience between them as well.
Yeah, but Subasic has done extremely well. He's held his position well. Popovic and Dominici in those central areas have been really ineffective. They haven't been able to get on the ball. In the wider areas, they've done a little better. But you know, all credit to the defenders from FC. They've done exactly what they need to do.
Again, Thurtell smashes that out on the far side. League title decider ending towards the end of the first half. About 9 minutes or so to go till the break. FC leading thanks to Verkic's goal. Coming exactly midway through the first half. Dominici. You can see every single red shirt is behind the football except for Mensah. Here's Megic. Brunskill. Got rid, but only as far as Dominici. Wide to Stricker. It's got a bit of space there. Pavlak standing him up. Here's Rocco Stricker. Towards the far post again. Calabria was in there. And the goal scorer Verkic sends it into the stands. Getting some joy down that right-hand side with Stricker.
Well, you can't say that they've actually played badly. They've done okay. They haven't created a hell of a lot, but they've certainly had a lot of possession. And the problem with FC's sort of safety-first approach to defending is that if it goes wrong, you actually invite the other team into the game in a dangerous part of the pitch. Full-blooded
challenge between Graham and Megic. Falls for McLaughlin. Lifted in towards Gianpaolo, who made the run. Got in behind, and again it's FC clearing. It's Verkic this time. It's back with Stricker on the edge of the box. He goes down under the challenge, and the free kick's given. Pavlak with the challenge, and got a bit of the ball, but got plenty of the man as well, according to referee Gary Vandenberg.
Yeah, it looked a free kick, but it also looked like one of those situations where Colbertaldo might have been able to take advantage. And he was breaking into the box. It may well have been, of course, that the FC players had stopped anticipating the free kick as well.
Dominici's thinking about going quickly. I don't think he's going to be able to. This is a prime position, though. On the edge of the D, near enough.
Yeah.
Rocco Stricker is very, very good at dead ball situations.
Well, they've got a number of players, Gianpaolo, McLaughlin, Corbataldo, Stricker himself, that could actually take advantage of this. They're all capable of getting it on target and testing Thurtell.
Well, it's Stricker that's
like
taking control, isn't he?
Yep.
He's put the ball down. The midfield playmaker who's scored 2 goals this season. Been out for injury with an injury for quite some time. What has he got from the set piece? Stricker up and over, but not enough dip on it. Much to the delight of the Canberra FC support.
Yeah, not his best effort, and as you alluded to previously, will not be going on to the highlights reel.
No highlights reel there, for sure.
I think the lower side of the wall was towards his near post, and he might have been better off trying to get it over there.
He's got the quality, though, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
Be disappointed with that effort. You could see the way he turned away in disgust.
But it came after a sustained period of Olympic pressure where FC couldn't quite clear the lines.
Magic wins the header. Gerbischer wins it. Corbataldo over the top, and Brunskill needed to win it and did, and was caught by Stricker. Important header from Aidan Brunskill.
He really is the Mr. Reliable of the FC back four, isn't he? He's been around, it seems like he's been around forever, and he never, ever puts in a poor performance.
In terms of what you would have wanted from a first half, Steve, with 5 minutes to go, from Paul Mayco's point of view, this is great, isn't it? To score a goal and then just keep them at bay. Yeah. Defensively, they've done exactly that.
Yeah, if that was the game plan, they've carried it out to a T.
And of course, as Olympic become a little bit more desperate later on and start looking for a way back into this one, remembering that they need 2 to win the title, then there's going to be gaps opening. Might be an opportunity for the likes of on the bench of, like I said, Christian Pradazina, who's got a lot of pace, to come on and add something to this attack. Here's Brunskill.
Yeah, no,
here's Brunskill again. Aidan Brunskill. Danning arriving in the area. Kofi Danning! A second goal for Canberra FC. And it's the former A-League star that gets it. He's 7th in all competitions, and it's a major, major goal. Definitely one hand on the title for Canberra FC.
A wonderful finish from Danning. Great football from Brunskill again. We're just singing his praises, and he just underlines how good he is and how important he is to this FC lineup. But Olympic, I think, will be a little disappointed again in the way they've defended that move. Full credit to FC. They've been potent going forward. They've created the chance. They've finished it. And they've really put themselves in a winning position now.
It was a loose touch from McLaughlin, wasn't it? But the way Brunskill twisted and turned, jinxed, rolled back the years, didn't he, from right full-back there, and had the presence of mind to pick the pass to find Kofi Danning, who, when he needed a finish, he certainly found one, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. And he's read the play really well. He's seen Brunskill on the ball. He's burst forward to get inside Boblis, caught Boblis on the wrong side of him. And it's FC's to lose at this stage.
Long way back here for the home team. 3 minutes to half-time. Canberra Olympic 0, Canberra FC 2. At the moment, Canberra FC will be lifting the league championship trophy at the final whistle and heading for an NPL final series game against Campbelltown City here in the nation's capital.
We didn't mention it at the start of play, but FC are the only team, of course, that can win all 3 trophies, having wrapped up the FFA Cup, and they're now in prime position to actually seal the minor premiership, taking them into the semi-final series full of confidence.
Wouldn't be all said and done for Olympic, though. A couple of seasons ago, they won from 5th.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
When the FFA Central Excellence finished 4th and weren't allowed to take part in the final series, Canberra Olympic took their place from 5th spot and went all the way. Scored 11 goals in 3 matches in the final series that year. Here's Calabria into the penalty area. Ambitious effort from Josh Calabria. I think it's set up for him and he saw his name up in lights there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what went through the young man's head there, but that was overly ambitious, I would say.
A worldwide viral meme, I think, of him smashing it in the top corner, perhaps. I don't know. It was for a player that's not scored a goal this season. Was a little ambitious.
Yeah, you were referring to Olympic winning it from 5th. In that season, they actually played Gungahlin here in the last game of the season, and Gungahlin needed a point. Olympic went on to win 2-1, but in the last minute, Jack Green hit the post, and it would have put Olympic out, and they went on to win it.
Such as the vagaries of football. Here's Waters. FC looking very strong at the moment. Almost the perfect game plan from Paul Maykel in this first half.
Absolutely
defensively sound. 2 goals on the break. clinical as well. They've only created a couple of decent chances, and both of them have ended up past Mason Interlandy, who really has done nothing wrong and conceded twice.
No, it's the people in front of him that are let down. I mean, Mensah has had the measure.
On Tim Bobbler, sorry, Steve, or just thought Dunning might have got away there for a moment. So your point you were making about Mensah?
Yeah, he's had the better of Nicky Boblis. Whether Nicky Boblis is 100%, not sure. But he's certainly causing all sorts of problems.
Dominici into the middle, Popovic arriving, Brunskill creating at one end, defending at the other. It's a bit of a rush clearance, so here's Gianpaolo. Looking to pull it into the box. Graham was there. Might fall for Dominici. He fires one. It took a deflection. And FC get rid of it. Here's Pavlak. He'll be in no rush as we enter the last stages of the first half. Up towards Mensah, whose hard work has been pivotal in what FC have done in this opening stanza.
Yeah. I think they've got into the head of young Danny Colbertaldo as well. The pressure they've applied has just caused him to rush things. He's not his usual composed self, and if Olympic are going to get back in the game, they'll need him to let's pull his socks up a little.
We're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Here's Magic. So one last chance for Olympic to try and find something before the break. Do they introduce Michael John at the break? Do they just go for it?
It's certainly an option. It's one that I'm sure Frank Asia will consider.
Here's Popovic.
It may well be that he goes back to his early season 3 at the back and just push on.
Graham sends it forwards. Mensah, who's battling away here, and he's in here, Michael Mensah. This is a real opportunity for Mensah. Mason Interlandy saves Canberra Olympic and possibly saves their titled hopes.
But once again, one-on-one with Boblis, and he's just out-muscled him again.
How important might that save be when we look back at this at the end of 90 minutes? Michael Mensah was in, could have made it 3. Interlandy denies the forwards. A let-off.
Yeah, great goalkeeping and a great run from Mensah, showing all his experience, all his strength, all his power.
Swung in towards the near post, Thurtell's there. Shouldn't be too much stoppage time, you wouldn't think, at the end of this opening 45 minutes.
No.
Thurtell happy to send that anywhere as far away from his goal as he can.
I think most teams, when they played against Olympic, have said that they're vulnerable at the back. You can get them at the back, particularly if the midfield doesn't do what it's supposed to do in front of them. And although FC have been pretty direct, and that's how they've got most joy, the midfield of Olympic just seems to be a little bit intent on pushing too high at too early and leaving the back four exposed. And, you know, making that worse is the fact that Boblis is one-on-one with Mensah. And
well,
again,
out-muscled here physically in every department, aren't they? Mensah, the flag will go up this time. Physically in each challenge, it seems to be that the red shirts are a lot stronger on the ball.
Absolutely. But I think Megic is playing far too far away from Boblis. He's not providing any cover. The fullbacks are both going at the same time. So, you know, although McLaughlin's dropping in a little deeper, he's not the sort of bloke that's going to be able to pick up Mensah as the ball's played past him.
Well, when Paul Maker woke up this morning and was thinking about the championship here at O'Connor Enclosed, he was probably thinking and dreaming of a first half of what we've just seen here. It's been almost perfect for them. Marko Verkic opening the scoring halfway through, and a second goal from Kofi Danning 3 minutes before the break. And defensively, they've dealt with everything that Olympic have thrown at them, Steve. It's been almost the perfect script.
They couldn't have played any better. They couldn't have played or carried out the game plan any better than what they have. 2-0 at half-time in the championship decider, as we all know, can be a dangerous scoreline. But they've looked so much in control defensively that you really can't see Olympic getting back into it. Up to Frank Asia now to make the sort of changes, either with the personnel on the pitch or from off the bench, to swing things around in Olympic's favour. But if they're not the next ones on the scoreboard, then the minor premiership will be heading to Deakin. Much
work to be done then for Canberra Olympic and for Frank Asia at half-time. It's Canberra FC who have more than one hand on their 23rd League Championship trophy. Goals from Marko Verkic and Kofi Danning have given them the advantage. They only needed a draw before kick-off at the moment. They're looking comfortable for 3 points. At half-time here at O'Connor Enclosed, we'll be back for the second half. Canberra Olympic 0, Canberra FC 2. Welcome back to O'Connor Enclosed, where it's the NPL League Championship decided here live on Bar TV Sports. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. With me, as he was in the first half, is Steve Forshaw. Steve, lots to do for Canberra Olympic at half-time. 2-0 down. They need a win. They need to find 3 goals without reply.
Yes, they do. It's a mountain to climb. But you said earlier, and I tend to agree with you, that if there is a team in Canberra that is capable of coming back from this sort of what appears to be an insurmountable and deficit, Olympic can do it. They'll need to do better than what they did in the first half, and it looks like they've lost Nicky Bobolas from the back four.
And Michael John stripped off and ready to come on, it looks like, for him as well. So maybe that's just go for broke time for Canberra Olympic. Their leading goal scorer about to join the action in place of Nick Bobolas, the central defender, which will mean their lineup is that 3 at the back, which you spoke about just before half-time. Steve, Interlandi in goal, Tim Bobolas, Megic and Calabria, Colbertado, McLaughlin, Stricker, Popovic, Gianpaolo, Dominici, John. It'd be interesting to see how they go up front. Kofi Danning giving us a thumbs up. He's very happy after his goal in the first half, Steve.
Yeah, and they look to be unchanged as they start the second half. They're in the box seat. I can't imagine that they're going to do anything other than what they did in the first half in terms of their defensive play. It's going to be safety first. It might not be pretty, but it's going to put them in the engraving shop with a trophy to the name.
Thurtell in goal, Brunskill, Subasic, Gerbischer, Pavlak, Lamb, Graham, Verkic, Waters, Mensah, Danning. They're the 11 that are getting the job done for Paul Mako and Canberra FC at present. Canberra Olympic looking, as I said, they need 3 goals. They need to win the game. We're going to have a heck of a 45 minutes if they can get them. Starting on the front foot, but conceding the free kick.
Danny Colbertaldo, who had an indifferent first half from his very own high standards, closed down very well by the FC midfield, but he's wearing the captain's armband now, and they'll need him to step up and show that sort of leadership.
Try and find out what sort of formation they're going to play. John looks like he's come out to a wide right position early on. Popovic on the left. Gianpaolo and Dominici up front, so maybe it looks like a 3-5-2.
I think it will be when they're defending. They'll go 3-5-2 the defending, and then 3-4-3 as they go forward.
So it's Nathan Megic's turn to look after Michael Mensah. First thing he does is concede a corner. Nick Bobolas, as we said, I think he rolled his ankle early in the game and it wasn't helping him.
No. But he was, tactically he was let down a little bit as well because he was exposed one-on-one by Mensah, who clearly had his measure. And that may well have been a function of the injury. But they didn't do anything in the first half to actually address that particular situation.
Well, Waters with the set piece for Canberra FC. Swings it in towards the far post where Gerbischer climbs highest. Can't get enough on it. I'm told by half-time, and thanks to Chris Doyle for texting me, that this field is 100 by 65 in terms of its length. So maybe it's just one of those visual things that makes it look smaller than what it is.
Yeah, I would have thought it was a little bit shorter. You can't tell. You're sort of there's an optical illusion with the pitch on the front.
Mensah's in here for a moment. Michael Mensah lifts it over the keeper. It's not going to have the legs or the direction. For a moment again, though, he got in. He is causing so many problems. They can't handle him, Steve.
No, they can't. And, it's FC are actually playing to their strengths. They're actually trying to get him in the game, get him in behind, hit him in the air. And Olympic don't seem to have the wherewithal to actually deal with it.
John's first touch is Stricker, who's playing more central than he did in the first half. Gianpaolo. Bobolas. John keeps it in. Stricker. Looks for Popovic making the run, and he almost got the run on Aiden Brunskill. Calm defending, though, from the fullback, who was instrumental in that second goal scored by Kofi Danning.
Yeah, good understanding between him and Thurtell in goals.
There's going to be chances for FC, though, on the break. I'm not sure Mensah's got the pace we wouldn't have thought beforehand to cause them that many issues on the break, but everything else he's done has caused them issues.
Absolutely. It's just about power, strength.
It seems to be in their heads now as well.
Yeah.
Here's Brunskill. Like a spring chicken. Aiden Brunskill.
He's loving it, isn't he? Loving it. Involved in everything. Yeah, why not?
2-0 up.
He's had his injury concerns as well this year. He's missed a few games through injury, but I know that both Paul and Danny McCaw rate him very highly, and when he's in the side, they actually play a lot better.
Verkic with the throw. Throw Gerbischer, so rather, isn't it?
Yeah.
Long one into the area.
Oh.
Keeper's come and missed it. This is a real chance on the turn, and was that Waters who couldn't quite get under it, but Interlandi came and got nowhere near it.
No, half chance on the turn from Waters. Not the best piece of goalkeeping we've seen this afternoon from Mason Interlandi, but they get away with it and they're still in the game.
I'm sure there's going to be one or two more of those before the end of the day. Here's Stricker, gives it away. Mensah tries to hook it forward towards Danning. Magic takes 2 or 3 touches when one might have done him, but it's worked out for Olympic. Here's Stricker looking for Dominici, who just threw a hand towards it in frustration. Didn't make a contact, otherwise he may well have found himself in the book. Danning wins it this time, and Mensah just casually rolls it towards Waters, who had that chance a moment ago. Got away from Boblis, who brings him down. Free kick FC.
Timmy Boblis has not been his usual consistent self today. He's just looked a little out of sorts. He's been troubled by Danning. He's been troubled now by Waters. He's given away a free kick that's probably a little unnecessary.
How much has this match on Wednesday get taken out of them, Steve, at all, if anything? I mean, it was the result suggests it was a walk in the park. Psychologically, though, has it taken something out of the tank?
It depends on how they reacted to it. If they got a little full of themselves, having won 7-0, and thought that all they had to do was turn up, then they had the shock. If they've used it as a training game, which it more or less was, then it can be used to the best advantage. But at this stage, it would appear that it's the former case, when they've actually just gone into it a little bit overconfident.
Calabria has been tasked with Mensah, and Vanderbert's just had a word with it, with both of them. Pavlak swings it in. It might fall to Graham on the edge of the box. It'll fall for Verkic, who fires it goalwards. Didn't get as much purchase on that one as he did his goal. Dominici chasing with Brunskill. And there's a player down clutching their knee to our left here, Steve. Is that McLaughlin?
No.
It's not. No, I can see Tommy McLaughlin there. Who's that down there on the edge of the area? Can't really see from this distance.
Calabria,
too many players in the way. I think Calabria's up and walking. Difficult to see from here.
Yeah, it's not Calabria.
Someone's down there. Try and find out who that is.
It's not Popovic, is it? Where's Popovic?
Is it Popovic? And he had his injury problems at the start of the year as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it must be.
He's down in a heap. I think, process of elimination would suggest it might well be. Well, let's hope it's not something serious for him. But he's not moved, which is rather worryingly for
No, and
Canberra
it's one of
Olympic.
those innocuous little events that usually result in the most serious injury.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened, to be honest. It was just one of those challenges on 50-50, I think. And where his landing maybe has caused him some issues, but he seems to be in a bit of pain there. He's going to be helped off the field. Is it the knee?
Well, he's certainly not walking off, and that's not a good sign.
No, it doesn't look like he's going to be playing any further parts, and we wish him well. We hope that's not the recurrence of the knock he had earlier in the year.
Well, he certainly had a troubled couple of seasons with injury, with serious injury. I know he's had surgery a couple of times on different things, so this is not looking good.
Well, Michael Reeve, I think that is, getting ready to replace him. And not what Canberra Olympic wanted. Their day's going from bad to worse at the moment. They've lost Nick Boblis at half-time. Now they've lost Nick Popovic.
Dare I say it? The Knicks of time.
I wish you wouldn't, because Nick's on the camera here as well, so if any other Knicks go down injured, we might have a stream. Here's Stricker. Boblis. McLaughlin. So another reshuffle for Frank Keisha. Dominici looks for Colbertaldo, but Graham is there. Now Danning. Looks for Mensah. Looks for the 1-2, and Magic had to get in there. Stricker did too. Now here's Colbertaldo. John. Back to Stricker. And that one's up towards us here in the commentary position. Matty Gerbish has almost taken off Steve Forshaw's head with that one. He should have nodded it straight back, Steve.
I was just about to jump over the barrier.
I mean, if it does come up here, we can save the camera. Stricker on that left foot. Can he find something? Dips one from a long range out, and it was dipping at the last moment. Ambitious and confident efforts.
It certainly an effort of some merit. He struck it pretty well, but I guess it didn't really truffle at the end of the day. Thurtell in the FC goal.
Might have been a different story if it had been a couple of inches lower.
Yeah, but in fact, it's the first attempt this half that that Olympic have had on anywhere near goal. So if they don't start creating more, this is looking more and more like an FC win.
Well, we're in the 10th minute, and they're still nowhere near getting the 3 they need. And they've lost Nick Popovic, who may have been a source of one of those. Here's Michael John. 10 goals this season for him. We know he can find the targets. Stricker looks to get away from Brunskill. Does really well there, Rocco Stricker. John to Colbertaldo. Went down late on the challenge from Waters. Didn't see much contact. Dominici looks at Gianpaolo. And the first sense of perhaps a little bit of unease in the FC defence.
They've won themselves a corner here out of nothing. But the like we said in the first half, their set pieces haven't really troubled this well-marshalled FC defence.
Gianpaolo to take the set piece. Can he find a blue shirt? Can they find a way back into this massive lead decider? Swung in towards the near post. Colbertaldo. McLaughlin. Now Reeve. McLaughlin again. 2 former Belconnen United players combining. Stricker. John. Gianpaolo's outside. Oh, and he's got that all wrong. Just come off the side of the foot there.
Yeah, I think that will bring a cheer to some of the members of the CFC staff, given that Gianpaolo left them this year to join Olympic.
Looks a bit dark and ominous behind that goal, Steve. Bit of rain maybe on its way.
2-0 in rain. Remind you of anything?
Yes, I'm sure it reminds many Tigers fans of the same thing. I don't think there's any chance of this being called off, though.
No. I think isn't it 75% anyway in the result stands?
That's correct. Calabria wins a header. Here's McLaughlin. Lamb pushes it forward. Calabria again. Gets it back from McLaughlin. It's a little bit one pace at the moment, though, from FC. Needs to be, from Olympic rather, needs to be a bit quicker. They're going to find a way through this massed ranks, you'd say, of the Canberra FC defence. Although they're playing it superbly. It's not. They haven't just defended. They've broken well when they've had the opportunities to, and their front two have been outstanding.
Absolutely.
In the absence of James.
I couldn't agree more. The, Olympic been just a little reluctant to play forward quickly, and that's allowing FC to get set. And they're actually intent on defending well, so you really need to be turning them around as quickly as possible, getting people into forward positions, going past people without the ball. And at the moment, that's just not happening for Olympic, and you're seeing that reflected in the fact that they're not creating any chances.
Gerbischer looks up towards Danning. Tell you what, if Thomas James is back for the finals next week, he'd be a lucky man to get back into this team at the moment, the way they're playing. Don't know who he comes in for.
I think they'll find a space for him. I think they will.
Been the unfortunate player who drops out, though, won't it?
Yeah, they've done really well, have they not? But I think next week's another game, and you approach that in a different way.
Still, this one's still not done, of course. But it's more than halfway done. And it's Canberra FC who are looking very strong.
Yeah, if it's not done yet, there is time for this to change around, but you'd rather be FC at the moment than Olympic. No doubt about that.
Can Canberra Olympic find 3 goals in what's left of this match to claim the league championship, or will it be going back to Deakin once again? Won by Bobolas, Gianpaolo.
I think that if they're not to get the 3, they want to be winning the second half to give themselves something to build on for next week. And at the moment, although they're dominating possession, you would fancy FC to get the next goal on the break.
McLaughlin. Calabria. McLaughlin once more. Stricker. It's patient. It seems to me just to be a tad too slow. Methodical. It's a good ball forward. Colbertaldo, this is better. John goes down. No free kick, no penalty, rather, no even an appeal, though.
No.
For Michael John as well. I think he just lost his footing.
He did.
Bobolus goes early to Stricker.
But there's just a lack of urgency in the forward play in particular of Olympic.
Dominici finds Gianpaolo. Looks for the return ball. Subasic was there, though. Defended that well. Yeah, it just seems a little bit one-paced to me, Steve.
Yeah, it did. Look, pedestrians not being unkind.
McLaughlin looks to send it over the top towards Dominici, but he's not quick enough to get that.
No, and you don't advocate that sort of overhit pass, but that's the sort of thing they might need to do just to break through on this. They're not getting between lines, they're not breaking lines. Everything's being played in front of FC, and that suits them down to the ground. 15
minutes of the second half gone, live on Bar TV Sports. You're watching NPL football. Canberra Olympic 0, Canberra FC 2 in the title decider in Canberra. If they need some added pace, they've got Oliver Wiedeker on the bench. He's fairly rapid.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise you if he came on for somebody like Gianpaolo. Or maybe they sacrifice another holding midfielder. McLaughlin goes off and they just go for it. I mean, nothing to lose.
Put big Ange Constantinu up front.
And hope for penalties.
Here's Lamb. Battling away with Michael Reeve, right in the corner. Swings it in towards Mensah. Stricker's back there. Here's Dominici. He's not been quite so influential as he would have liked to have been, I think. Been well marshalled. Graham looks for Danning. Bobolus needs to be careful. He's got a head on it. He might not have enough on it. Into Landy came, and just enough from Tim Bobolus.
Yeah, nervous moments, but in the end, well defended.
Magic and Danning again. Busting a gut, Kofi Danning. Not only scoring the goals, but defensively, absolutely outstanding. The former professional, and you can see it in his work ethic, Steve.
Yeah, he's been outstanding today. Not only has he got the goal that sort of made it a little more comfortable, but as you suggest, he's worked his socks off up and down this left-hand touchline.
He's been absolutely outstanding. He'd be up there in the votes for man of the match for sure.
He's pulling in the big ones at the moment.
It's his second goal that's given them the cushion right before half-time. Long throw, Bobolus wins it. Stricker, he's had plenty of touches, Rocco Stricker.
Yeah.
Gerbischer is just smashing that forward. It was, maybe I'm doing him a disservice because Mensah had made the run. As it gets darker and the grey clouds come scudding in over Canberra.
It is looking a little threatening.
Stricker, Gianpaolo. Ball forwards to Bobolus. Looks to take on Danning. Stricker once more. He's had heaps and heaps of touches in the second half. Everything is going through the midfielder.
It is, but he's just taking too many touches.
Calabria. Here is Stricker, lets it run for McLaughlin. John. Well, nice dummy. Here's Colbertaldo, and that's a good challenge. Tracking back by Matt Waters.
And then one of the unsung heroes of FC. I mean, how many people or how many times would you see that run not picked up and tracked? He's done a great job there.
And Colbertaldo, that's where they like to see him making those runs further forward. Didn't really do any of that in the first half. Didn't have the opportunity to do so. McLaughlin looking to swing this one in. Looking to start a Canberra Olympic comeback. To the near post. Graham out. Oh, Gianpaolo bounces over his foot, and there's 4-on-2 here if they break quickly. Lamb's peeled away. John's defending mightily. Unfortunately for Canberra Olympic, it ran away, but there's the threat that we said that might happen on the break, Steve.
Yeah, you can expect to see a lot more of that. I mean, wasn't the best of deliveries from the set piece. Gianpaolo's got to do better than that. I mean, they leave him outside the box so they can keep the ball in the mix, and, you know, his miscontrol has really put him under pressure. And the break was terrific.
Stricker. Here comes Gerbischer charging across. Thumping into the challenge. His eyes lit up there, didn't it, Matt Gerbischer? He saw a chance to get a thumping challenge in on the playmaker.
Yeah. He certainly wasn't holding back when that ball's disappeared across the creek.
That's the kind of player he is. Likes the physical side of the game, Matty Gerbischer, and he's got a silky touch too. Here's Stricker again. Battling with Waters. Free kick this time. And they go early. McLaughlin time the enemy for Canberra Olympic. One of those games, Steve, where if you're in blue, the clock is ticking ever so quickly, and if you're in red, it feels like it's an eternity.
Yeah, it just drags by. But, you know, FC can just afford to be a little bit more controlled in possession. They don't need to play quickly.
They don't, because we've had 19 minutes of the second half, and they still lead 2-0. Those goals from Marko Verkic in the first half and Kofi Danning just before the break, giving them the cushion that they craved. And since then, Olympic have had a lot of possession, but it's looked fairly comfortable. Offside given by John. And I think that's been the possibly the one thing that Frank should be disappointed with. It's had looked fairly comfortable, hasn't it, since they've gone 2-0.
Yeah.
They've had lots and lots of ball, but they've not really threatened Jordan Thurtell. I'm struggling to recall, apart from Dominici's strike in the first half, which he got down well to save, and that one from Stricker, which fizzed over the crossbar, anything really constructive that Olympic have managed to put together.
No, there has been very, very few chances, few and far between, and, you know, chances from inside the penalty area are almost nil. You know, so they haven't got anything into the box, into dangerous areas where they might take advantage of it. And partly because FC have defended so well, and partly because Olympic have just been a little slow to get the ball forward.
Well, here comes the rain, starting to lash down. You might be able to hear it on the top of the gantry here. Bobulus just adds to the drama. John couldn't get it under control. They said it might come. As we get an epic monsoon storm. The Greek gods of weather. I'm not sure who it is. Colbertaldo's ball forwards. Dominici.
It's a great run from Dominici. He's come from deep and tried to get in behind, and I think they need more of that from the front three.
They need something, don't they, Steve?
Yeah.
They need something. They need someone to spark them, and they've got players in this team that are capable of it. One of them needs to stand up, and probably you're going to say more than one if they're going to get something out of this.
Yeah, you know, this is just sloppy. You know, Timmy Bobulus, easy pass back to Megic, misses his target. The goalkeeper picks up the loose ball. It's a sloppy pass out to Calabria, and then the ball played forward is just into no space at all, or into no area of effectiveness at all.
I haven't seen Canberra Olympic this rattled for quite some time, with their passes going astray, and we've seen them lose some games this year. I think Griffith earlier in the year when they dominated possession much like this and lost 1-0. Created a lot more chances that day, though. They really should have had 3 or 4 in the first half.
But they're not creating anything at all, are they? I mean, I think Frank will be really disappointed with the lack of penetration.
Well, the weather and the cloudy slate grey skies at the moment pretty much summing up the mood of the Canberra Olympic support as they looked to try and find a way into this contest. John is there. Dominici on the turn. Good shot, nicely blocked as well. And here's a chance for Mensah on the break to chase it down into Landy. Comes out, just shovels it forwards to Megic. It's going to be a lonely job for Michael Mensah this half.
Yeah, a little isolated. I don't think he'll care too much. He'll toil away.
Stricker advancing forwards. Dominici, nice touch. Got away here, Dominici. Great tackle. Matty Gerbischer on the edge of the area. Needed to be. This is more like the Olympic we know. Reeve. Threatening a bit more, but defensively this has been brilliant from FC so far, and Gianpaolo can't bring that under control. That was a great tackle from Gerbischer.
Absolutely. And that, I mean, that's the mark of the man, and just when you need it most, he steps into the breach. Great tackle. But it was better football from Olympic, as you were saying. Once again, though, a lot of possession hasn't resulted in a strike on goal. No chance created.
Thought for a moment Dominici's first touch was excellent. The second opened it up, and just as he looked to step around Gerbischer, the boot snaked out of the FC defender and crushed the hopes of Canberra Olympic briefly. It's looking very much like it's going to be a red day. We're going to see some changes, I think. Gary Vanderbert is waiting to wave Oliver Wiedeke into the action.
Yeah, and it is Gianpaolo that comes off.
He's been a little bit lacklustre in this second half, hasn't he?
He's been very subdued. I mean, some of his play has left a little bit to be desired. We know what sort of qualities he brings, but he hasn't had the best game today.
I mean, on his day, he's outstanding. Like I say, he's one of the best players in Canberra. Not been his day today. Not been many of their day for the players in blue at the moment. Magic finds McLaughlin. Graham goes across to shut down the space. Another tireless worker. Better touch from Colbertaldo. Dominici. Reeve, switch wings. Looks to take on Danning, and there's that work rate again from Kofi Danning. Just the mark of the man, Steve, to be honest. A former A-League player coming back to play in local football, you could be forgiven for thinking, just by taking it easy and strolling through the game. Not a bit of it with Kofi Danning.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think he's really enjoyed playing under the two Maycore brothers, and he's actually provided significant value for this team.
Still do a job at the A-League level, do you think?
Big ask to step up from this level into the A-League now. He's not the young player he was when he first went there, and he's had those injuries, but if somebody was prepared to take a chance, I don't think he'd let him down.
Of Mensah's touch for Lamb. Bobolus to Magic. Colbertaldo. Magic again. Dominici. Magic, and that's out of play. Another sloppy pass. And as you said, Steve, it's uncharacteristic. 20 minutes to play. It's not looking like it's going to happen for Canberra Olympic at the moment as the rain stops and the sun comes out.
No, but...
It must be the Croatian weather gods.
Frank Cacia's had the last roll of the dice, bringing Wiedeker on now. And it's now or never.
And again, that's a uncharacteristically misplaced pass by Tom McLaughlin.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, they've played... This season has been a funny one for Canberra. We've seen them a lot, Steve, and they've not really hit their stride, have they, in any sort of games? But yet they're going to be going to finals in second place if this stays as it is.
Yeah.
And they've taken the league championship to the final day. They've got plenty to offer.
Oh, they're a good side. I think they've missed Kadanak. Kadanak brings the sort of quality that has been really missed today.
Just the calmness as well, doesn't
yes,
he?
Yeah.
And he always comes up with something, Robbie Kadnach, doesn't he? He always finds something. Yeah. Pavlak with a superb tackle to win it off Stricker, who snaps back at Waters, and he's going to see yellow. That was a frustrating challenge more than anything from Rocco Stricker. He felt he was fouled by Pavlak, didn't he?
He did, and he wasn't. But the frustrations boiled to the surface there, and I think Gary Vanderberg's got that right, but I think that's the sort of sanction that should attract the red card, because it's just cynical, it's full of frustration. It was a deliberate kick out of the player, and I wouldn't be disappointed if the red card came out for things like that. But Gary Vanderberg's handled that really well.
I think he's handled the game very well, hasn't he?
Yeah. No,
like we said at the top of the broadcast that we were hoping that we wouldn't be talking about the referees, and we haven't been, which has been very, very good. All three of them. Gary Vanderberg in the middle. Owen Goldrick were raising his flag in your shot there. And Adam Powers on this near side.
Well, touch wood, there's been nothing controversial for them to actually deliberate on. But they've been in the background, which is exactly what you want from your officials, particularly with a game of this stature.
McLaughlin. Ball forward looking for Wiedeker. And John was chasing as well, and there's Thurtell staying alive to the danger.
Yes. If you do get beyond the back four, then Thurtell's been there to clean things up, hasn't he?
He certainly has. Been an interesting season for him and Sam Brown, hasn't it? The rotation policy that they've had at Canberra FC. They've each been on a game now and again. Nice to have two goalkeepers of that quality, Steve.
The goalkeeping depth at FC is better than anything else in the competition. I mean, Olympic have got two decent keepers, but they're not in the same league as these two guys. And they've just had to put up with that sort of shared arrangement.
Ball played forward. Mensah has gone. The flag goes up very late. Goldrick was on hand.
He looked in two minds about whether he was going to give that, but eventually he sort of put the flag up.
Weather's turned here, Steve. I'm having to button up my coat and put some gloves on. You're already well rugged up, aren't you?
Absolutely, well prepared.
Lamb. Calabria's there. Challenge from Mensah. Colbertaldo. Nice rainbow over the ground there now, Steve. Ball forward from Stricker. Looking for Reeve. Pavlak's back there, and no chances taken by him either.
Well,
full rainbow right over us here at O'Connor.
Very picturesque. But it's cold.
Yeah, temperature's suddenly plummeted, even though you can see the sun out as well. 4 seasons in 5 minutes. Colbertaldo goes down. Stricker finds Dominici. Back to the midfielder again. He's probably had more touches than most of the players on the field combined. It's incredible.
They can't break down the FC defence. They've played in front of them. They've knocked it around quite tidily. But in terms of actually getting between lines or breaking lines or penetration, it's been non-existent. They've
been happy for Stricker to have the ball in positions outside the area, haven't they? Here's John looking to turn and create something. Dominici. First touch just ran away from him and just thumped forward by Lamb, and Mensah's off to the races, and he's got 2 players with him, and it might come from Michael Mensah. Interlandy's come out, and that's a brave bit of goalkeeping. The not insubstantial sight of Michael Mensah bearing down on you.
Yeah.
Dominici. Bobolas. Stricker. Looking for Vidica. Brunskill did enough, not once, but twice. Now Lamb, and thought about sending it forward towards Danning, but didn't get enough of it. Bobolas advancing forwards. John, he goes down under the challenge of Gerbischer. No foul. Danning, lovely done. Well done to roll away Kofi Danning and racing forwards. Here's all the experience taking his time as Reeve tracks him back. Spins on the ball. That's nice from Kofi Danning. And in the end, just didn't have any support. But thread on the break. It's end-to-end now. It's a bit like basketball. Here's Magic. Oh, and that's a thumping challenge from Pavlak. And no free kick. Wow. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Tim Bobolas is still down in an absolute heap on this near side. And Pavlak looks kind of guilty, doesn't he?
Oh, it was a foul. I think... if Gary's got one decision wrong, then that probably was it. It's probably a foul and a card, but he's given what he's seen, and at the end of the day, I'm sure Timmy will be okay and we'll get on with it.
Just the way Ivan Pavlak got himself up off the ground, his guilt was evident, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was. There was nothing malicious in the channel. He was definitely going for the ball. He was just late.
Exactly. Yeah, went for the ball, didn't quite get there. Got a fair piece of Tim Bobolas. As it is, the upshot is a free kick to Canberra FC. There was a foul on Waters, I think it was. Ian Graham has his foot on the ball. Looking to lift that into the towards the penalty. Free kick Olympic. Ian Graham's dad, Rob Graham, is doing the under-20s here at Canberra FC in the absence of Michael Mensah now.
Yeah.
A former first-grade coach of this Canberra FC side.
For God's sake.
And what's going on here? Maybe we've jinxed it a little bit, Steve, early on by saying we weren't talking about the officials.
Oh, no, well, I mean, he's just asked them to take it from the right spot. I think he's entitled to do that.
Stricker finds Colbertaldo. Tim Bobolas. Pavlak. More orthodox tackle this time. Got a foot in. Time running out. 13 minutes between FC and a title. Here's Dominici. Bobolas swings it in towards Michael John. Good header. Gerbischer. McLaughlin. Almost pleading for some movement ahead of him. Bobolas. Well, that's not the best ball in, and Gerbischer's there again. Magic needs to be careful. Mensah not giving him a moment's peace. And the forward concedes the throw, but he keeps working. That's all they can ask from him. Stricker. Vidica. Lamb ahead of him. Vidica drops a shoulder. And that's a great challenge from Jordan Lamb. The defensive work from Canberra FC today has been phenomenal. It's hard to recall a better defensive performance, and that's a horrible touch. And it might let in Michael Mensah. Bearing down on goal to seal it, Michael Mensah, but Mason Interlandy again with a fantastic piece of goalkeeping. Could have sealed it. Pavlak shifts into third or fourth gear. Ivan Pavlak still going. And Bobolas has done himself a disservice sliding in to clear that one, but what a chance again for Mensah, and what a good save.
I know, created again by some really poor football from Magic in the back four for Olympic.
It's hard to recall a time when they've been this lacklustre in their touch and in everything that's happened.
I was at the Raindolph game and a couple of Fridays ago when the rain interrupted it, and they were poor that night. Tigers outplayed them in that game. And the season started with the 1-0 loss against Monero, and although it's had some peaks, there's been too many troughs from Frank Cacia's point of view.
Well, this time there's hope. Reeve in towards Stricker, might fall for John. Verkic got a foot in. Danning sends it forward. Mensah looks out on his feet, doesn't he?
He does, and Danning's worked really hard as well. But some of the Olympic boys now just started to sag the shoulders and drop the heads a bit.
We're into the final 11 minutes of the season, regular season. Up towards Dominici. He's peeled away from Gerbischer. Mad bounce in the area, but the flag, was that? Or a free kick?
Free kick.
A little nudge by Dominici.
I think so. It looked a little harsh.
Yeah, he had his heads in his hands. Canberra FC support, enjoying what they're seeing. Goals from Marko Verkic in the 22nd minute, and Kofi Danning 3 minutes before half-time look like bringing the league championship back to Deacon's Stadium. We'll be there next week, Steve, for the 1v2 qualification final.
Yep.
Well, I will be. I don't know if you've got something planned.
No, I'll be there. I'll be there anyway because the under-18s play in the morning.
Who have you got in that one?
Riverina Rhinos.
Interesting matchup.
Yeah.
It's in the under-18s.
Yeah, they've done really well, Riverina in the under-8 comps, and their 18s are quite strong.
So there's all the 1v2 qualification finals next Saturday at Deacon's Stadium. Get out there and watch those if you can, or join us on Bar TV Sports for the main game in the afternoon. On Sunday, Tigers FC versus Tuggeranong United.
I think that's
two sides.
Woden Park, I think, isn't it?
Two sides that are really looking to make their mark on finals. At the moment, it's Canberra FC who are sitting atop the pile come the end of the season. This will give them a 5-point winning margin as well, which in a season of such closeness is quite ironic, really, when you think about it.
It is. I mean, it was always on the cards that if they were to win today, that would happen, but the season doesn't deserve a 5-point buffer between first and second. It's been closer than that.
It's one of those things when you look at the history books down the years and they go, oh, 5 points, that was a comfortable year.
Yeah.
And it's been anything but. It's been one of the most entertaining and open NPL seasons we can remember. Still not done yet. Finals to come. Still plenty of time here. Here's Mensah looking to seal it once and for all. Danninger made the run, but Mensah's just overhit that. Interlandi, with the help of the fast-pacing ball boys who are trying to get the balls back into the game as quick as they can.
It's a break that came after Gary Vandenberg had actually inadvertently played a 1-2, a little bounce pass.
Stricker. Verkic. He's battled manfully today, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Marko Verkic, and he's still going. Stricker gets the better of him on that occasion. Reeve beaten to it. Danning's back, but Reeve got there quicker. Fresher legs. Magic's ball forwards. Again, sloppy. Colbertaldo, and that's sloppy as well. And Lamb has it. Mensah, I don't think he really wanted it. He got it anyway, and wins his team a throw. Frank Cacia urging his players to give a little bit more.
Yes, Mensah, he may not be the most mobile on the pitch, but his effectiveness in the front third has been really, really something that Canberra FC have been able to take advantage of.
Well, his strength and his power, isn't it? And he just gets in the, looks like he gets in the minds of defenders, and they always know he's there.
Yep.
Stricker looks for the run. Now Reeve's got in here. Michael Reeve for the first time. Olympic are in round at the back, and Pavlak's across and just takes it off his toe and smashes it out, and that pretty much sums up how it's been for Canberra Olympic.
Yeah, absolutely. A great opportunity to get some quality service into the penalty area, and Reeves takes that one extra touch and close down. Full credit to Pavlak, defending really, really well, as they have done all day.
Magic. McLaughlin. Magic again. Wants an option. Picks out Reeve. Got a heap of space. Michael Reeve to maybe pick a delivery this time. And again, took a long time to make his mind up. And Pavlak closed it down.
Not sure what he was waiting for. They seem to have the numbers in the right areas and just put the ball in and see what happens.
Yeah, the confidence seems to have shot from this team at the moment, doesn't it?
You know, you can understand that Michael Reeves might be a little bit down and confident. He doesn't start regularly for this team.
Stricker into the box. Calabria won the header. Knocked it further away from goal. Vidica finds McLaughlin the flags up anyway for offside.
Yeah, Vidica coming back from an offside position.
Michael Mensah has done his dash. I think he's done brilliantly today, Steve. Ryan Keir to come on.
Yep. Look, they set up the stall to make sure that Olympic couldn't score. They've done that with some aplomb. Mensah, when they broke, has been effective. He's run himself into the ground and he's getting a well-earned early mark. And on comes Ryan Keir for the last few minutes.
Yeah, 6 minutes to go. Interesting one this, Steve, because Ryan Keir has a bit of a quad injury.
Yeah.
That he was struggling with beforehand, which is why he didn't start. So it's interesting that they've gambled him in a game with 6 minutes to go that they're 2-0 up in.
Yeah, I mean, there must have been good reason to take Mensah off. I think he'd run his race, but yeah, it is. It's interesting.
It's an interesting choice when you had Christian Pradazina on that bench as well, who could have just run that role. Anyway, that's why Paul Makel's coach, and we're not, his striker. More penetrating run this time. John Reeve. Again, they just can't get past that solid FC defence, and it's just spanked clear by Subasic. Tim Bobolas wants to get on with it. Magic. Remains to be seen how badly his brother was injured in the first half. And Nick Popovic as well. Could be 2 players short next week, Steve.
Yeah, they could be. They could be. No excuses, though. It hasn't been...
Well, here's a chance for Colbertalo, perhaps, and there's Brunskill.
It hasn't been for the want of trying. It's just been for the want of a little bit of creativity in the final third that they haven't been able to break FC down. And, you know, the Popovic injury might not have helped them as far as that was concerned, but they've got enough talent in the front four with this lineup that's out there now.
Gone short with the corner. Colbertaldo, crossing opportunity. Lifted in towards Calabria, who won the header, and this time it's Pavlak who just smashes it up towards halfway. Anywhere will do for Canberra FC, and why not? They've done the hard work. They got the goals when they needed them in the first half. Canberra Olympic desperate with 4 minutes to go, plus stoppage time. Be a heck of a finish if they could get the 3 goals now.
Yeah, that would be something to behold, and it really doesn't look at all possible.
It's not looked likely for them, has it, for most of the afternoon, to be perfectly honest. They've had a lot of possession. I think if you kept possession and territory stats, they would be all over it in that area.
65-70% possession, no doubt about it, certainly in the second half. But it's all been in front of the FC defence.
That second goal just before half-time, an absolute killer blow. Here's Vidica in towards the edge of the penalty area. Dominici thought about the shot and then decided to run into the area where Pavlak wins it. Danning ahead of him. Pavlak looks to send it in that area. It does really well. Now Keir just wants to keep possession. Verkic, Lamb, and Brunskill. Verkic again, that's heavy. McLaughlin was in there. They've turned it over once again, though. They've lost count the amount of times they've given the ball away today. Here's Magic. McLaughlin. Ian Graham's turn to send it up the other end of the field towards Mason Interlandi, who's done really well to keep his team from actually a flogging today, hasn't he? He's made 2 or 3 good saves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, it might have been 4 down.
Yeah, could have been. Could have been. He hasn't put a foot wrong, the keeper. He's just been let down by some sloppy defending in front of him, and a really good performance by CFC. Yeah,
and uncharacteristic, as we've been saying throughout the game of Olympic. They're usually very crisp passes, usually find their mark, but FC have done a job on them today, and deservedly so. Perfect game plan from Paul Makel.
Yeah.
And Danny as well, his assistant. Not quite there yet, but near enough. Vidica looks for Calabria, sends it into the area. Pavlak away. Now Danning. Oh, beautifully done by Kofi Danning. Off he goes now then. Kofi Danning running at the defence. Will he go on his own? He thought about it. Waters was there. Keir. Waters again. Colbertaldo battling away, bringing it forward, not giving up. Looking for John. He's got in here. Chance for Canberra Olympic, and it's a good effort as well from Dominici, but it sails wide of the target, and that goes their final chance.
The last couple of minutes, and that's the best chance that they created in this half, and it was a good chance. And Dominici, perhaps if he'd had fresher legs, just looking a little fatigued there, he'd been a little bit more alert, but to finish that.
Coming up to the final minute, Steve, of the season, and Canberra FC will be crowned league champions for the 23rd time, and it's been thoroughly deserved based on what they've done.
Absolutely. I mean, they've obviously looked at the side without Thomas James and Ryan Keir in the starting 11, devised a game plan that was around making sure Olympic couldn't play, perhaps using the counter-attack effectively, and they've carried it out to an absolute perfection.
They only needed a point. They're going to get all three, unless something remarkable happens in the final minute plus 3 or 4 stoppage time that we're going to get. And I've seen some strange things in my time, but this would top the lot. Here's Danning, lovely turn. Probably the man of the match for me.
He's done really well, hasn't he? He's done really well.
Magic. Gerbischer, who's led by example throughout. Lovely touch from Keir, Ian Graham. They've all been on the top of their game today and done exactly what they've been asked of them. And Lamb goes for the 1-2 with Keir.
And Danning's in if they can find him.
Swings it in towards Danning on the far post, and there's Interlandi. To their credit, they're still going Olympic, and why not? John's battling with Verkic. Stricker. McLaughlin lets it run for Calabria. And again, the pass is easily intercepted. Ryan Keir. Danning off towards the corner. And just skips off the turf, that little bit of rain that we had. Yeah,
but he's spent, I think. I don't think he was going to catch that. Ryan Keir could have done him a favour and just held on to that for a little bit more.
Maybe worth a pop from there, mate, at this stage. Subasic did it last week. So he tells us. The FC support won the final whistle. We've played a minute of stoppage time. They're going to win the league championship yet again in Canberra. It's been a while.
Keir's in.
Here's Ryan Keir to put the icing on the cake. He got enough on it, but he got too much on it. Lifted it over the crossbar.
Look, this has been a great season in the NPL in Canberra. It doesn't finish today. We go into the second phase in the final series, and we'll get to see Olympic and CFC again, together with Tuggeranong, first time in 15 years, and Tigers, whose resurgence after a couple of mediocre seasons brings them back into the final series as well. But
Marko Verkic is going to get his opportunity to have a standing ovation from his supporters.
Well, he set them on the way, didn't he?
He certainly did with that goal after 22 minutes, getting on the end of Jordan Lamb's cross pass. What you can miss hit shot.
But there is no doubt, I think, that most neutral supporters would say that the best team in the competition is the team that's going to finish on top. They set off at the start of the season with an unbeaten 5-game run, I think it was, and really laid down their credentials then, and they've seen it out.
And it puts to bed the fact that some people think they may be a one-man team with Thomas James and that they couldn't win without him. They've done it comfortably without him today. Here goes Lamb, off on the run, still going into the area. Jordan Lamb, still going. Jordan Lamb, what a run this is! And Interlandi denies him what would have been a spectacular finish. Where he found that energy from, I don't know.
Yeah, there's some tired boys out there now, but Jordan Lamb's run then, particularly for a guy that's not played consistently and has been overseas, went to the World Cup, so he's not been, training as full on like the rest of the squad, but his run down the right-hand side was terrific.
3 minutes of stoppage time played. They're waiting to get the party started. The Canberra FC support. Here's Danning. Calabria was challenging with him. Brunskill. Keir's in the middle. We know how good he is in the air, but Brunskill using all of his years of experience to win the throw. How much longer is referee Gary Vandenberg going to allow?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Matt Gerbish is going across to take a long one.
He is, but I think that's about soaking up time. I'm surprised he went so quickly.
Jogging across. Unsurprisingly, only Ryan Keir and Kofi Danning in the penalty area. Danning, Gerbischer flings it in towards Keir. It's headed away. Referee Gary Vanderbilt looks at his watch again. Waters fires one. It bounces off of Danning. Reeve gets rid. We've played 4 minutes, and that's enough. And Canberra FC are crowned champions. It's a red letter day for the Canberra FC team. They are league champions in Canberra for the 23rd time. And Steve, their performance today, well, it might not have been a purest dream from a game plan point of view. Absolute masterclass.
Thoroughly deserved their 2-0 win. There is no doubt about it. They've been in control of this game almost from the word go, and certainly from the time the first goal went in. They set out the stall to do certain things, and they've carried it out, like we've said, to a T. They've been the best team in the competition this season, and they're worthy champions, so congratulations to them. Commiserations to Olympic, who gave it all they got. Just couldn't find that quality in the final third to break them down, but the defensive display today by Canberra FC has been first class, absolutely first class.
We'll move on to Canberra FC in just a second. They're going to get the league championship trophy today, Steve. Just a quick word on Canberra Olympic. They go again next week against FC at Deakin. Injuries to Nick Boblis and Nick Popovic. Obviously, Robbie Cadnach out for the season as well. This game might have wider implications than even the fact that they're not going to be playing in the final series.
It could. I mean, they do get the double chance, so if they lost last week, they'd still be alive. But I don't think that'll have too much bearing. This game won't have too much bearing on what happens next week. The only thing that I will say along those lines is that if FC have established their dominance over Olympic, then you can't see then Olympic turn it around in a week. Now, that's twice they've beaten them 2-0 this season, and they've lost 1-0, I know. But that was at Deakin. So that will give some encouragement to an Olympic team that just couldn't find the guile today to actually make a difference in the run into the championship. And
the Olympic do like playing at Deakin as well, but it's all about Canberra FC today. It's all about them. They've won the NPL League here in Canberra by 5 points. They came into the game only needing a draw. A goal from Marko Verkic halfway through the first half gave them the lead, and then Kofi Danning's strike right on half-time, Steve, not only doubled the advantage, but that was a psychological blow as well, wasn't it? That second goal. They took advantage of Olympic mistakes, but they worked hard to create those mistakes.
Absolutely, and as you say, the second goal was the killer. Took the wind out of the sails of Olympic. Had they been able to go in at 1-0 or even level, then perhaps you would have seen a more vibrant second half from Olympic. But all in all, it was the game plan devised by the two coaches at FC, Paula McCaw, Danny McCaw, that has come up trumps today. They've defended well when they needed to. They've broke well. Mens has been outstanding in the front third. Danning has had a tremendous game. And, you know, we get worthy champions on a 2-0 win.
We have the league championship trophy just out here to our right. Canberra SC will claim it. It's been a hard-fought year for them as well. They started off the season with a 3-0 win over Monero Panthers. From then on, they just got better. They beat Gungahlin and Riverina. They hammered the Tigers. They beat Belconnen 5-0. They beat Woden 4-1. They had a slight slump when they drew with Tuggeranong. After that, though, and lost to Olympic. Wins over Monero, Gungahlin and Riverina. A loss to Tigers. Then that draw with Belco. A win over Woden Western. A win over Tuggeranong United. And this today, it all came down to it, and they were worthy champions. A squad, a team that Paul Makos put together. And after last season, Steve, you wouldn't think it was possible. They were looked in a bit of a disarray, but they've fought well and they've come back.
They've done everything right, haven't they? I mean, we expect big things out of the FC and the Deakin-based club. They've, like we said earlier in the broadcast, that they've been one of the benchmarks over the last 10 to 15 years, and it's unusual when they don't succeed. And today they've sort of put everything right. They've suffered some injury blows. They've had absences through World Cups and through adversity, they've come through and are deservedly top of the competition.
Perfect blend of youth and experience as well. The older heads, people like Aidan Brunsker, Matt Gerbish, Kofi Danning, Ivan Pavlak, linking well with your Marko Verkic, your Daniel Subasic, and your Jordan Lambs, and those kind of players to put together a team that's going to go far in finals. You'd think they're going to be difficult to stop, and maybe they've got a chance in NPL finals as well.
Well, we said earlier that they're the only team left that could win all three trophies, and they've just bagged the second. And it would not be a surprise if they went straight through to the grand final. But worthy champions as Ian Graham collects the trophy.
Well, this is skipper Ian Graham. He's going to introduce his team to everybody here. Don't imagine there'll be too many Canberra Olympic fans hanging around for the presentation ceremony, unless it's Souvlaki's half price.
No, there seems to be a mass exodus at the moment. There's a few staying, though, doing the right thing.
Marko Vrkic, whose goal started us all off. Daniel Subasic, who was a cracker last week, and Jordan Lamb there, Sam Brown, Matthew Waters and Jordan Thurtell. It's been a team effort throughout, hasn't it?
Oh, it has indeed. They've had some really good individuals, and in Thomas James they've got a prolific goal scorer, but today he's missing. Ryan Keir, who's had a strong season for him, was missing today for a large part. But they've come up trumps again, and it's, as you say, it's that happy blend of experience and youth and being well prepared and well structured.
And there's Thomas James getting his medal now. Didn't play today. Manny Gerbisher did, Andy Rakic. And skipper Paul Makor and Ian Graham as well. He's been the heartbeat of this side for a number of years.
Yeah, he does a lot of the dirty work that goes underappreciated, and Ian Graham's been a very, very solid contributor again today, but as he has all season. And Danning, I think, probably gets our vote for man of the match, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah. I mean, just his work rate as well, not just in the front thirds, but defensively as well. Just phenomenal. Canberra FC, your NPL League champions for Canberra in 2018, and thoroughly deserved as well. Steve, it's been an incredible season in terms of league action. It's not done yet, as you mentioned. Finals next week. These two teams go head-to-head again, a chance for revenge for Canberra Olympic a week after, so it's going to be tasty.
It's something to look forward to. I mean, like you said, we got a taste of it today, and we look forward to just getting carried away with the emotion of the things. We look forward to more of the same next week.
Well, we'll leave the Canberra FC boys with their celebration. Steve, thanks for your company again today. We look forward to catching up with you again next week. It was a game at the start of the day. We decided that the league championship would be crowned here in Canberra. Canberra FC went into it needing a point. They've got much more than that. They got all three. They put in a dominant performance. Marko Vrkic, the most unlikely of goal scorers, gave them the lead midway through the first half, and then 3 minutes before the break, Kofi Danning with his 7th goal in all competitions this season made it 2-0. It's Canberra FC who come out on top. They are our NPL champions. Final score, Olympic 0, FC 2.